Welcome back to Far From Perfect, everyone. I know you're as excited as I am because this morning when I made a little post saying that Beth Feraco was going to be on my podcast today, literally, I can't even tell you how many people said, "Oh my gosh, I love her. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with her. Oh my gosh, she's the best." Seriously. So thank you,
Oh,
Beth,
I
for your
love
time
that.
today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I,
It's
I was just telling Kylie that I've been following her for fucking years.
it's crazy.
Years.
It's
Yeah,
so
this is so
crazy.
cool. Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy you're here. And before we dive into all of the awesome stuff that you share on a consistent basis, all the things that everybody needs to hear over and over and over and over again, I want to get a little bit more into your background. Like
Yeah,
most people our age, we didn't go out of come out of college or high school and say we're going to be nutrition coaches. Something else
right.
is here. And so
Yeah.
I'd love to know like what brought you to this space? What's your background?
So let's see. I'm going to take it back a little bit. When I graduated high school, I actually went to college. I wanted to major in nutrition.
Hmm.
But I was like 18 years old at the time, but I was living in Arizona. My dad just passed away, and someone was like, "Do you want to go to San Diego and live on the beach with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go." So I left college, moved to San Diego, left my boyfriend, who's now my husband at the time. At the time, he was my boyfriend, but now he's my husband. That's another long story. But I moved to California and spent about 20 years there working in the bars, worked at Hooters. I worked behind the bar at a strip bar. I was actually a fashion designer for a little bit. And then full circle, long story short, I ended up moving back to Maine, reconnected with my high school boyfriend. We got married, but I was deep into drinking. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I haven't drank in 9 years.
Awesome.
So how I got back into the fitness realm is when I actually quit drinking. I met a girl. She was like, let's go to do some boot camp classes in the morning. It was like, summer, late summer. And I went to AA every day for a year. So my AA meetings were at 7 a.m. We used to meet in the morning at like 5:30, and then I would go to my AA meetings.
Mhm.
She ended up getting a job personal training somewhere really far, so we couldn't meet. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I ended up going to this gym near the AA meeting, which is actually near my house,
Mhm.
and started taking group classes, right? Everyone starts somewhere. That's
Yep.
why it's, you know, started taking group classes. And then I was asked to, like, if I wanted to work behind the front desk. I'm like, yeah, my son is about to go to preschool. This is perfect. My first job, like, after, being a stay-at-home mom and quitting drinking. And then my boss at the time was like, "Do you want to start personal training? I feel like you'd be really good at it." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." I'm like, "But first, I want to get certified in nutrition. That's my passion." And from going to the gym and talking to these women, I was realizing one thing that we all had in common was like everyone was working really hard, but everyone was always talking about how they could not lose fat.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, I was following Jordan Syatt. I joined the inner circle and I started learning from him,
Uh-huh.
start figuring out that it is a really nutrition is the driver of fat loss. And so I enthralled myself in nutrition certifications, and then I had my own transformation. So that's how I really got back into the nutrition space. So I'm really more of like a mindset nutrition. I do have my personal trainer cert. I mean, I did that for a long time, but my passion really is in like nutrition and mindset. I
Yeah.
like for people to actually program me the workouts rather than me. That's just me.
I'm the same
But
way. It's so funny. This new gym opened up by us, and a
uh-huh.
lot of the people that follow me are going there. And because I still have a lot of local people, and a
Uh-huh.
woman sent me a message. She's like, "Hey, do you think you could give me a program using the equipment at this gym?" And I was like, "I can't. That's not really my thing. Like nutrition
Yeah.
and mindset is my jam.
Okay. I didn't know that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've got the gal that does the programming. I can also
Yeah.
offer other suggestions, never mind my
Yeah.
tail.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not
Mhm.
my thing. It's not, I love it, but that's not my
Yeah,
specialty.
I love to do it. Strength training is so important. I mean, everyone should be strength training, but for me, like the programming part, I was never just into that.
So here's a question. On your journey to sobriety and the AA meetings, are there any parallels that you're finding with that process and nutrition? Did that help you with nutrition? Do you just see any crossovers at all?
For me, nutrition wasn't really a focus until like a year after I quit
Mhm.
drinking. I think more my sobriety. And fitness was like very important. Then I was like, at first I was like trying to run the weight off. I
Sure. Yeah.
wasn't like I'm like, let me just go and do 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, but my weight was never changing. So that's where it's like you can't outrun a fork. You really
No.
can't. I'm a prime example of trying. Until I realized, okay, it really is nutrition.
Yeah.
But I never really was the person that overate or ate a lot of sugar
Mhm.
when they quit drinking. I know a lot of people do that. I kind of replaced fitness instead of food,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of people, when they do eat a lot of sugar, they're replacing, the drink with food. It's just
For sure.
another cross addiction, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, so speaking of like fat loss,
Hmm.
you're now adults. I call people who are over 40 adults now.
Yeah.
And you
The
you are
kitty.
51, right?
Yeah, 51.
Okay, so let's talk about losing weight, losing fat
Hmm.
when we're in our 40s and 50s. Is there anything different we need to be doing?
Uh, you know, I, I'm losing fat. I'm in a fat loss phase right now. I got to say, I went through like a couple years of maintenance surplus to build
Mhm.
muscle, getting uncomfortable with the scale going up and all that stuff. And so right now, I just started a fat loss phase 5 weeks ago and I'm losing fat.
Yeah,
Um, it's not different for me than it was when I was 42.
yeah.
I'm doing the same things. I think people get lost in like this age, things are different. You may not be moving as much. You're
Mhm.
probably not strength training. You're under muscled.
Mhm.
A lot of people are reactive instead of proactive. I'm glad I started my fitness in my early 40s and got a handle on knowing that protein is important, fiber, nutrient dense food, sleep. All the foundations, right? A lot of people, like I said, they try to fix all that like when they turn 50. They're like, oh my God, I suddenly gained 30 pounds. Like that didn't really suddenly happen.
Yeah.
Um, that's a cumulative effect. But I think people mistaken that maybe, the menopausal or perimenopausal symptoms
Mhm.
may make it harder for them to be in a deficit, like lack of sleep, hot flashes, anxiety, depression,
Mhm.
things like that. It's like getting a handle on those things to make it a bit easier for you to get in that deficit and stay there.
Yeah. Because to your point, I think a lot of people, we don't want to take ownership. So it's easy to
Right.
blame things on our hormones. Like I would love to blame stuff on my hormones. Sometimes I
Hmm.
do. That's why I'm
Oh, yeah.
crazy. I have my
Yeah.
hormones.
I still do. I'm like, oh my God, do I have fucking hypothyroidism? I mean, but I don't. Like logically, I know that, but the scale
Yes.
would like last week, it was the same all week. In fact, it started going up. And of course, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then I'm like, just stay the course. You changed, you have a new workout plan. Like things are a little bit different. Inflammation, of course, it dropped a pound like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to stay the course. It's not really about the scale number. It's like no one takes photos, no one takes measurements, but they're so quick to blame the scale. It's like, well, did you take photos and measurements? No, I didn't. Okay, well, the scale is just a piece of data. It's not all the data.
Yeah, that's one. I know I've got a client right now living in maintenance and that's hard for a lot of women. Like you've never done it before. We didn't know that was an option. And
Right.
scale has gone up a little bit. So she was all concerned about that, but she went and got an in-body scan. Turns out 3 of the 5 pounds are muscle.
Yeah, you made a video about that
Yeah.
yesterday, right? Yeah, it's so important. Yeah.
So speaking of
Mhm.
weigh-ins, I know what I like to do. What do you advise people to how often to weigh in? Like is once a week, once a month?
I like the daily,
Yeah.
daily because you can see the trend over time when you weigh in once a week or you could be weighing in on a day that your weight spikes and you're like you have nothing to compare it to. I always go to the back that like if you have a business, let's say you own a grocery store, are you just going to check the sales on Monday and then base all of your decisions on the sales that you made on Monday? It's like, oh, Monday was a crappy day, I guess we're failing, you
That's
know.
a great analogy, which I will be utilizing and giving you credit for.
Yeah,
That's really good.
people don't look at the data. It's just a data point and they get so emotional over an inanimate object that is just literally measuring your entire body, which has a
Absolutely.
lot of things in it.
Tons of things.
Including
Yes.
a lot of water. It's usually just water retention.
Well, and then
Hmm.
I love what you said. Like people will see, they'll use that weekly weigh in, think that they're not what they're doing isn't working, and then they try
Yeah.
something different, but they never gave the first thing enough time anyway.
Yes, they're slashing calories already, they're doing extra cardio. It's like they just need to stay the course and weigh daily or just don't weigh at all. Like don't do the once a week. I say once or every day or once a month, once
Mhm.
every 30 days or not at all.
Or not at all. Yeah, use those
Yeah.
pictures, use the measurements. And
Yeah,
like in your body, you can feel it.
you
Most
can feel it.
because
Yeah,
also sometimes I'll have someone say, I feel fluffy, but once they see the data, they've actually lost weight or they've
right.
and so
Yeah, it's like just because you feel full does not mean you're fluffy.
right, exactly. So what do your most successful, the people who work with your coaches, what
hmm
is it that they do?
You mean our clients
Yeah, your
to
clients.
reach their goals? I think we have them we have them keep a consistency calendar.
Mm,
So I learned this from Jordan Syatt. I'm going to credit him on this. So putting an X on the days that you hit your calories and your protein, and an O when you don't hit your calories and you don't hit your protein. So you can go back because a lot of people just they forget that they went out to eat, they didn't track their calories, they either drank, they went over their calories, they have like food amnesia.
mm.
And they're like, I don't understand why anything's not happening. It's like, well, how consistent have you been? I don't really know. Okay, well, let's look at your calendar. Oh, you have about 10 O's, you
Out of
know?
30 days.
Yeah. So it's things like that. When you have that visual, it holds you accountable too. And a lot of people sometimes will not do the calendar, but then get upset when they're not seeing results. Like, well, you haven't been even tracking your consistency.
Wow. What are the things that they're doing consistently?
You mean when they don't see results?
Well, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. What are the things that they do when they don't see results? Yes. Yes.
A lot of them, they like to have the drink
Yeah,
and don't realize that that is a huge deterrent, especially after when we're in our 40s. It hits different.
totally.
Like the glass of wine every night, the weekend drinking, the trying to fit in the alcohol instead of the food.
Mm.
Then yet suddenly you're 3 glasses of wine in and you're having extra appetizers, extra chips, you're going home and you're eating more. The alcohol seems to be a big one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I talk about it a lot. I have an office White Claw just for demonstration purposes
Uh-huh.
because that conversation has to be had a lot.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, clients who are getting results,
hmm
what are they doing consistently?
They're consistently hitting their steps. They're
Mhm.
consistently tracking their calories, weighing and measuring their food. They're consistently getting their protein and their fiber. They're doing all the boring basic stuff. The stuff that's not pretty, it's not shiny.
No, you said something in one of your stories. You said you would rather do the shit that makes you miserable than the boring stuff, and that's so true.
It's like you don't have to suffer in order to lose fat. A lot of people think like suffering is what you're supposed to do in order to lose weight. Like, let's just starve ourselves and just do like so much exercise that we're exhausted. Yeah, you don't have to do that.
No, and I was talking about this on Instagram yesterday. I think people they want that. They want it to be hard. They want to be miserable
hmm
so that when it doesn't work, it's not them. It's just too hard. It's just too hard for me. I can't do it.
Right,
When you say
right.
you can't go for a walk every day,
Yeah.
you know.
You have to be intentional. You have to really be. I got 10,000. I don't know if you were watching my stories when I was traveling from Maine to Florida, but I made a point through via car. It took us 4 days to show people that I can get 10,000 steps a day when I'm traveling. And
Yeah.
so I did. I would walk at rest stops. I would walk in the morning before we left at our hotel room in the parking lot. I just took every time we stopped, I walked and I made videos about it. It's like you guys can do that when you're sitting at a desk job.
Yeah,
Just keep
absolutely.
getting up. Get up early, take walks during your lunch break, take a lot of walks to the bathroom, go up the stairs, park far away from the office. If you are intentional, you can get it done.
Absolutely. And it's such a low-hanging fruit with such a big impact. I was just looking at a
Yes.
form, an intake form yesterday, and she's gained some weight, but she told me how many steps she's getting per day and about her sleep. And I'm like, I can't wait to talk to her. This is the easy fix. Like,
Yeah.
cool. Let's add some steps. Let's get you to bed a little bit earlier. Bam. Watch
Right.
what can happen.
Yeah.
So speaking of, I mean, you're just like all the women I work with. You are busy. You've got
Hmm.
commitments, family, work, social, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Um, you lead a busy life like everyone. Like I even when people ask me, when I ask someone how they're doing, they tell me busy. I'm like, come on. I mean, duh. Like, let's not. That's not a word I want to hear. But
Right.
how do you make it work? How do you implement that intentionality? What do you do?
Everything is in my schedule and
Wow.
my Google Calendar. Even like my drive to the gym is included in there. It's like walk breaks are included in there. I don't necessarily like listen to every single one, but I make an intention. If I'm at my computer for 30 minutes or more, I'll make sure to get like a 10-minute walk in after getting my dog outside. If I'm on the phone, I walk around my house. That can get a lot of steps in if you're consistently on phone calls. Sometimes my Zoom calls, I will use my walking pad if I'm able to. The walking pad is clutch if you're on your computer and at home
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, you just have to make it a priority.
Yeah, it's part of my lifestyle now. So it's not something I really, it's just something I do automatically. And
Yeah,
once you consistently do that, you're going to do it automatically all the time. And you're going to realize how crappy you feel when you don't.
so true. That's why I know I don't mind when a client has like a weekend away and they're kind of
Hmm.
off because the way they feel on Monday, it's like a great reminder. Oh, this is why I do this. I
Yes.
feel
Yeah.
better when I do.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because people don't understand. I'm not. We're not just at the gym and on Instagram all.
Right. I don't live at the gym. I'm at the gym like an hour, maybe 4 days a week, you know? And
Guys,
then we're doing podcasts and we're Zooming and we're doing business stuff and sitting and
we're sedentary if we're not intentional,
right, right. It could be very easy for me to be sedentary all day.
for sure. So you train 4 times a week, strength training?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, here's a fun question. What are your thoughts on cardio? Do you implement that for clients in fat loss phases for
Oh
yourself?
yeah, yeah. Cardio is super important for sure. I'm actually doing sprinting on Saturdays is my thing.
Yes, for sprints. You do
Yes.
running sprints?
I do running sprints. I love running anyway. I'm going to be training for 2 half marathons in the summer. So my coach
Oh,
right now, who's actually on my team, Kelly, she's got me doing sprints on Saturdays, and which are 3 minutes. So I'm doing 3 minute sprinting as fast as I can, and then 3 minute walking 3 times.
wait, you are running as fast as you can for 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yep.
my God, that sounds terrible, but
Well,
awesome.
trust me, when you're a minute in, it feels like an hour. I'm like, oh my god.
I do a 20-second sprint and I'm like, when
Yeah.
is this going to be over?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So let's talk about that. How has your training changed over the years? Not necessarily to when you were doing boot camp and classes,
Hmm.
even when you started strength training. Does it look any different? Have you learned anything new?
Um, I think I went through different phases where I was just focusing on strength, and then I went from strength to hypertrophy, and I'm back into just strength right now during this fat loss phase. But it really, it's the same. It's the same foundational movements, right? The deadlifting, pulling movements, pushing. Nothing has changed since I've been in going from 40s to my 50s.
And it really does, like to circle back, it comes back to all of the boring stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know when I haven't been deadlifting in a plan for four
right.
5 years, squatting.
Totally. I know. At one point, I was doing like hip thrusts for a year straight. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
was in one program for literally like 9 months,
Yeah.
but it was working. I was getting stronger. So like there's
Yeah.
really no need to change it.
Right. I think a lot of people think they need to do something different all the time. They don't understand. Well, I'm strength training. It's like, okay, what does that look like though? You're doing different stuff all the time. You're still using 10 pounds. You're never progressing to like, women are stronger than they think. They're so afraid to lift heavy shit. Meanwhile, they're carrying 2 kids on each side and, every single grocery bag in their arm. You're already lifting heavy shit.
Yes.
So, just exchange that for some dumbbells or a bar.
Something that's easier to even carry that's not wiggling around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're basically farmer carrying.
So on your team, I think my friend Polly on your team?
Paul Campbell. Yeah. He just
Oh,
joined like a month ago.
I saw that and I was so happy. You guys are peas in a pod. He's been
He's
on the pod
awesome.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. That is so great, Beth. So
Yeah.
what's it been like growing your business? Talk about it from the inception to where it's at right now.
Oh, it's a scary process. Because when I started, it was just me, right? And I had, like 30 clients. I started getting a waiting list. This was probably like 2021. And then I'm like, all right, if I want to grow, I need help. Or do I just stay here? It's like, do I stay here and let all these people on my waiting list maybe not be able to coach with me because I'm too busy? And really, for me, it's about helping as many people as possible, but also not in a way where it's shitty service. And I think that's why I have so many coaches on my team because um, I only have them take as many as they can handle with giving good coaching. So, some only have 20, 30. I think that's pretty much the max because ours is so hands-on. It's really a lot of behavior and mindset work. And so you can't take on 100 clients doing like the kind of coaching that we do. It'd be crazy. In fact, it's funny because Paul was telling me when he worked for somebody else that he had a lot of clients, like to the point where it was like 80 or something, and he was doing sales calls and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God,
Mm.
how did you not lose your mind? He's like, well, it was kind of crazy. I was,
Yeah.
I kind of did. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's not like what it's like here. But
Yeah.
so I had to ask for help.
Mhm.
And my first coach was actually someone that I in person coached with, my friend Justin, who actually is on my team still. Um, so it started from there. And then my boss that hired me and believed in me first, he's actually my business partner now. He still owns the gym that I used to coach at, but now he's like the head of all of our coaches. He does all my back office. He's runs like part of the sales team. And so I have him to help, and he's actually been helping me with the hiring process. And slowly it went from like Justin to my friend Christy to my friend Patty. And so all my coaches are people that I've known or have worked with. And so we're at a point right now where I'm starting to run out of people that I know to hire. And that's very hard for me.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so now I have to actually trust
Right.
that this person's going to be a good coach because my clients are like my babies, or they're very important to me.
Yeah.
And so to let go of that control to people that I don't know has been hard, but been good so far. All the coaches on my team have been with me, most of them since 2021.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I'm just
Yeah,
so proud
so
of you. That's fantastic.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, you just said something that was really profound. Asking for help.
Yeah.
So coming back to the client who is so busy, but she
Hmm.
continues to take on more and more, but she's not taking more on for herself. What do you say to someone like that?
Oh, it's so important to ask for help. Just like I did with I've gone this long without an assistant. And it came to the point where my mental health started getting affected, right? You're trying to do all the things, you feel like a crazy, like a rabbit. And I was forgetting appointments and
Yeah,
things
that's
like
when
that.
you know.
And I'm like, you know what? Not good, Beth. So you got to ask for help. And finally, it's only been a week, and I'm like, why did I not do this 2 years ago? Is beyond me. But you will be a better person if you ask for help. You can better serve other people if you ask for help.
Mhm, mhm.
And you can take care of yourself better if you ask for help.
Absolutely. And
You know?
I know that you must get this just because I mean the amount of followers that you have. I'm sure people come into your DMs and are on your posts and they're pretty much like asking for free advice all the time.
Yeah.
But like if you would just invest in the coach that
Hmm.
you're asking all those questions to, you're gonna get there. Ask her for
I
actual help.
know. Yeah. It would take the guesswork away from
Yes.
like continually trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, if you're doing it right, getting out of your own way, holding you accountable. I think I've always had a coach.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
I
I love
mean,
coaches.
yeah, coach. I learn from other coaches. I love getting new different programming or different ways of how they, deal with mindset stuff. But having a coach and hiring a coach is the best thing you could do for yourself, honestly. It's a small investment for so you don't have to ever do this shit again.
Exactly. Well, because even you were talking about this, like there is, I think it was you. a lot of people talking about, there's so much now information on Instagram, and
Yes.
there's even good information. Sure, there's some shitty, but there's also some really good. But, it's hard when you're taking advice from a ton of people. Like it's
Yeah.
nice to have just one voice of reason that you trust. You're going to get
Right.
those results.
Yeah.
Let's talk about expectations, because I think that's also
Mm.
something that really messes people up when they feel
Mm-hmm.
unsuccessful. But it's like, well, what are you expecting out of this fat loss phase? What
Yeah.
do you see people struggling with in terms of that, like speed, rapid of weight
I
loss?
think they expect it to be quick. It's like they set themselves up for, or they think about this number. They have this specific number in mind. I want to lose this amount of weight in this amount of time, and I want to be this weight, right? But what they don't understand that doing it the right way, it is not like an overnight thing. It is slow. And I always ask people, do you want your dream weight or your dream body? Which is it? Like,
Yeah,
what's more important to you? I want my dream body because fuck the weight. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, if you were this weight, and you were super happy with where you are, why are you getting upset
Mhm.
about because it's not going a way that you want it to go just to
Yeah,
hit a number?
yeah. I know it's so crazy. I had a call this week, and it's been a week for this person
Uh-huh.
to be in their deficit and nothing
Yeah.
has happened. And she's like, I mean, like, should I drop my calories? Should I add some
Oh my
calories
God.
to
It's been a
it? I'm like,
week.
absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. I wouldn't expect any changes by now. I'm like, give me at least a week.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then,
At least a month, at least. And
yeah, and then we go,
even then, it's going to be slight, you know?
right. Like, how consistent have you been? I haven't seen your macros. Like, can you share that
Yeah.
information with me? Like,
Yeah.
what's your circle of the
That's,
X's?
yeah. Yeah. Right. Where are the X's and O's? Show
Yes.
me.
Well, because you, again, like people's comments, like, you've only
Yeah.
lost 2 pounds. I heard you talking about that. And like, do you know how hard it is to lose 2 fucking pounds?
Oh my fucking God. It's like I lost 2 pounds in a month. I'm stoked. I mean, it's not that I'm obese. Do you know what I'm
No.
saying? Like, if you're
Yep.
trying to lose less than 20 pounds, you don't expect to lose 5 pounds a week. That's insanity.
Well, okay, let's have this conversation then. I got some of these. Let's take the lady who's of average height, and she weighs, you know, 120 to
Mm,
150 pounds. And
mm-hmm.
she wants to know, like, why am I not losing weight? Why is my body not changing? What, the body type I'm talking about, right? Just a
Mm-hmm.
regular woman who, if you look at her on the street, you would never say she needs to lose weight,
Yeah.
but she wants to be more toned. She wants to look more athletic, like she actually
Mm-hmm.
works out. What do those body types need to be doing?
Strength training.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's just because they're not in the gym, strength training. That's where you see the body changes.
Yeah. And
I didn't see body changes running.
no,
I didn't see the body I wanted running. And you got to add the strength training to that.
yeah. And what does that mean for their nutrition then? Because they can't just get there in a deficit.
Right. Well, they're going to have to go into what maintenance, right? They might not like it too much, and maybe even slightly more than maintenance.
Wow.
You got to get uncomfortable a little bit.
That's the thing. And it's the temporary discomfort that people
Yes.
really,
Yes.
really struggle with, I find.
Hmm.
But it's,
Yeah. And you got to be intentional. It doesn't mean that, you're in maintenance so you can just fuck right off. I think
oh,
also
yeah.
people think that deficit is just about exercise. And then when they get to maintenance, they're like, stop doing everything. They stop exercising, stop eating their steps. It's like, no, you continue all of this. You don't have to gain, so much fat while you're in maintenance. If you strength train and you're focused on your protein and you're doing the walking and everything, you will be gaining muscle and with little fat gain if you are intentional.
Absolutely. Like, if you are gaining a bunch of fat in maintenance, you're not in
You're not
maintenance.
doing it right. Yeah,
By
you're
definition,
way far beyond maintenance. Yeah.
have
Right.
you have you yourself done an intentional muscle building phase?
Well, for 2 years, like I guess like when I turned the end of 50 to just right now, um, I've never intentionally like went to a surplus, but I'm pretty sure that I was one. I wasn't really, I would track and then I wouldn't track. I was just eating, but I always focused on the protein and strength training, and I just kind of just did it.
Yeah, me
Just
too.
did. It was uncomfortable. I mean, I knew like I just wasn't. I'm like, okay, this you just got to stick through this. It's something I consistently had to talk myself out of too. Like you don't need to. lose fat right now. You just need to continue what you're doing.
Right.
It's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it long term, this is for the greater good.
Yeah.
I use that. I had a person on my podcast last week, and she referred to it as your lizard brain and your wizard brain.
Hmm.
And then I was talking about it at home, and my son, I said, Pat, my husband, you got to get out of your lizard brain. And Brooks goes, and into your wizard brain. And I was like, what
I
are you
love
doing
that.
that? I know it because he goes at school. And I was like, wow,
Love that.
bravo, school.
Oh
That
my goodness, I love it. I'm gonna use that too.
yeah, right? It's so
Hmm.
good. But that's
Hmm.
the deal. We are our own worst enemy. I know I am my own worst enemy. I'm constantly getting in my own way and
Oh
clients.
yeah.
But that's why we have to get, a straight shooter like Beth or anyone on her team to like, Kylie, come on now. Let's get
Hmm.
real.
Yeah.
So what do you see right now in our industry that you really like?
That I really like. I love seeing all the coaches, actually like coaches like you, um, debunking bullshit or just keep spreading the boring basic shit.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And I only follow the people obviously that could talk about, you know, evidence-based information.
Yeah.
I
Now,
do love that people are helping more people have a healthy relationship with food. That a lot of that stuff was not talked about for a long time, and people are more talking about fiber now, which I think is important.
mhm. Yeah, I feel like back in the day when you and I first got online and all that, I feel like most of the people that I was following, they were competitors. Like
Yeah.
that's who was giving the macro advice. They were showing us
Hmm.
the things. I
Yeah.
don't follow any competitor bodybuilding people anymore,
No, me neither.
but there's a plethora of people like yourself and me that are dishing out the good stuff. Now, on
Yeah.
the flip side of that, what is it that you just wish would go away
Oh my
yesterday?
God.
So much.
Cortisol coaches. Um, just the
Glucose goddess, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think the people that focus on what do I call it? Majoring in the minors,
Mm-hmm.
like the people that just persuade people that the fear mongering.
Yeah.
There's
Hmm.
so much fear mongering. And it's literally, I feel like I have to tell my clients, you got to stop following these people because clients will actually look at those videos and they'll send me the videos. What do you think of this? What do you think I'm going to say? I mean, stop the fucking madness. It's like they're looking for other things that could be wrong. A lot of people want to sell you a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. That's where we're at right now.
I love that. And I sometimes I get super frustrated. But then I'm like, no, Kylie, this is just why we have to keep on spreading our
Yeah,
message.
yeah.
Those
Sometimes I feel
voices
like I'm
are,
talking to a wall, but
well, those voices are so loud. And I feel like a lot of times they're
yeah.
by, you know, you and I have small businesses. It's
Hmm.
hard to compete with someone with $1 million of
Yeah.
budget, but
Right. And if you notice, the people that are spreading the fear mongering they have millions and millions of followers.
yeah,
It's not the people like us.
no, so
Because
true.
fear sells.
Fear sells.
Hmm.
Yeah, boring does not
Unfortunately.
sell.
No, no.
You're gonna have to put on your Hooters top and sell the boring
Yeah.
stuff. You're welcome for
Man,
that
I
idea.
wish I wish I still had that outfit, but I have
Girl,
no idea where that is.
you would
It
rock it
probably wouldn't
so
even go
hard.
over my calf at this point.
Oh my God, hear me out. I've got a great idea. We'll come up with another name besides Hooters, but it's all middle-aged women who are those servers prancing
Yeah. Oh
around.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. No one's gonna go.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, Beth. Well, I tell you what, where can we find you? I think everyone already follows you on social media, but where can we find you just in case?
Beth Feraco Fitness on TikTok and Instagram, and I have a podcast called Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt, and that's on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google, anywhere you can watch and listen to a podcast.
Is Matt is Matt one of your coaches? Tell me about you and Matt.
Matt is the co-host of my podcast with me, and we met on TikTok in 2020. We used to get tagged in the same videos. People would say we were a lot of alike. So then we started to collaborate, and then we're like, let's start a podcast. And 3 years later, here we are. we have a Patreon, and we do like these meet and greets quarterly in different states. So we can go, so we can go hiking with people. So we've been to Florida, we've been to Utah, we've done hikes in Maine, where I live. We've done hikes in Ohio. So we're doing a hike in Portland, Oregon in June. So we get big groups from our podcast, or whoever really wants to come meet, and we get people outside. And
That's
it's a fun way
amazing.
to meet people. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And do something healthy and connect.
Yeah.
And
Yep. I love it. Yeah.
well, what if I want to work with your team? How do I go about that?
You have to go to bethrocofitness.com and fill out an application, book a phone call, and go from there.
Are you guys just nutrition and training? How does it?
Nutrition and training.
Oh,
Yeah.
one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Awesome, Beth. Well, I so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thanks for
getting
having
over.
me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I hopefully we get to do it again.
Yes.
I'll see you
Bye.
soon.